have one. Glenn's flying in from New York, and he's going to drive me to LA. I think it's the 21st of July. You can tell Bob.
Why do I have a feeling?
Dr. Siegel. I'm not doing it out here, that's for sure.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm going to mute everyone in about 30 seconds, not because I don't want to hear your happy, lovely voices, just because I don't want any feedback while we're doing the service. So talk amongst yourselves for just a little bit longer, then I'm going to mute you.
What dare I ask?
I got caught
What'd you do?
sending a message.
Who caught you?
Josh Goldberg. Right? You caught me. I got busted.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That feeling that you're feeling right now in your neshama, in your soul, is that need for Shabbat. We've worked all week, we've let stress accumulate. Now it's time for a Sabbath rest. It's time to celebrate together. It's time to sing together. It's time to be with one another. We can't be with one another physically right now, but we are most definitely with each other in spirit. If you have a Siddur Lev Shalem, we're going to begin on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachama, Mishobata, Eretz Sona, Yarutz Abdach, Oh 11, Lehu Niranana.
Lehu niranana, lehu niranana, lehu lehu niranana, Adonai. Lehu niranana, lehu niranana, lehu lehu niranana, Adonai. Naria, naria, lesuri shenu, lekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, lesuri shenu, bizmiro naria. Lehu niranana, lehu niranana, lehu lehu niranana, Adonai. Lehu niranana, lehu niranana, lehu lehu niranana.
On page 14, Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Melo. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Melo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Melo. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Melo.
We continue together on page 20, Romemu Adonai.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtakavu be'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtakavu be'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtakavu be'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtakavu be'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu.
We continue together on page 21. I ask that if you're able to do so, please rise for Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havul Adonai b'neili, Havul Adonai, kavod va'oz, ay, Havul Adonai, kevod shemo yishach, Havul Adonai, יערות ובחלום כולו ואומר כבוד איי 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 אדוני למה בו ישר ישב אדוני מלך לעולם אדוני עוז בעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום ניי 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 ניי
Please be seated. On page 22, we sing together, Ana Bekoach. If you would, Adonai, may your mighty right hand undo the knot that ties us up. Accept the prayers of your people, you who are revered. Raise us up and cleanse us.
Ana בכוח, בכוח, גדולת ימינך, ימינך. תתת צרורה, כפרינת עמך, סגבנו, תרנו נורא. אנא בכוח, בכוח, גדולת ימינך, ימינך. תתת צרורה, כפרינת עמך, סגבנו, תרנו נורא. אנא בכוח, גדולת ימינך, תתת צרורה, תתת צרורה, כפרינת עמך, רינת עמך, סגבנו, תרנו נורא. נגיבור דורשי יהודך, כבבא שומר. תרם, רחמם צדקתך, תמיד גונן. אנא בכוח, גדולת ימינך, תתת צרורה, תתת צרורה, כפרינת עמך, רינת עמך, סגבנו, תרנו נורא. ניי 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 ניי
If you would, before we sing Lecha Dodi together, think of a wedding you've been to. Think of the happiest wedding you've been to. Think of how happy you were when the bride walked down the aisle. Think of how beautiful she was and how excited you were to see her all dressed up. That's how we're supposed to feel when we greet Shabbat. We'll sing together Lecha Dodi, and while we sing, think about the happiness of that moment and how happy we are to celebrate Shabbat together. Lecha Dodi, page 23.
Nine, 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 nine. וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתחילה לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו וחכי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם בסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה ומצעיה מתוכה וקרב לך שבט בעמק הבכה והוא יחמו עלייך חמלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה יתנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדיה תפארתך מעל יד בן ישי וחלך מקרבה אל נפשי גאלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי אורי שדברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקמי מה תשכחיה ומה תהני בגסו עמידני ויראתי לה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה והיו לשמסה שוזייך ורחקו פה מבלייך יסיף סלייך אלוהייך כצחוס קטן חתנה קלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בין הפרצי ונשמחה ונגילה
We stand to greet the Shabbat bride.
לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולתו כמונע עם סגולה בואי קלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לחדוני לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. We continue together on page 27, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות אדוני, טוב להודות
21, Adonai Malach.
29.
Adonai Malageu Lavesh,
Lavesh, Adonai Ozita Zar, Aftikon,
Tevel Batimot, Aftikon, Tevel Batimot, Davon Kisavah Meyas, Leolam Atah, Naseru Leharot Adonai, Naseru Leharot Olam, Yiseru Leharot Togyam, Migodot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Bishbereyam, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Elotecha Nimnu Meod, Veitkana Bakodesh, Adonai Leorech Yamim, Adonai Leorech Yamim, Mikodot Mayim Rabim, Adirim Bishbereyam, Adir Bamarom Adonai, Adir Bamarom Adonai.
We heed the call to worship together as we turn to page 39b. I ask that if you're able to do so, please rise as we stand for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Adonai Amevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Umavir yom v'vin layla, umavdil ben yom v'vin layla. Adonai tzeva'ot shemo, Adonai tzeva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid imo, aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
We prepare for the Shema and we express God's love for us, page 40, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, V'sholenu ufumenu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ihem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, ve'orech yameinu, u'bahem negei yomam v'layla, be'ahavatecha tasser miminu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai,
Shema.
Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם בניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, ועם שמות עזרותי אשר אנוכי מצווך. ויאמר אשר לאמור דבר כזה. Adonai Elohechem emet.
We continue together on page 44, Micha Mocha. Page 45, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor seteinu uvoleinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'amitenu malkeinu
Adonai, shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our God. Please watch over us and deliver us. And please, God, you are our sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and our coming for life and for peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, over Las Vegas, and over Jerusalem.
Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amitenu malkeinu lechaim.
We sanctify Shabbat together on page 46. I ask that if you are able to do so, please stand for Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Vayom ha'shvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat b'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorodot v'tolah. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivarach Yerutei ve'amalek malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei kol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala, ba'gala, u'v'zman kariv v'imiru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam olam ve'olmaya.
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yirmam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Kedusha v'richu le'la min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran le'alma v'yimiru. Amen.
The Amidah for Friday night begins on page 47. Please feel free to use the words of the Siddur or the own private meditations of your heart. If you're still praying your Amidah, please continue to do so. The rest of us can be seated as we turn to page 51 for Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata
On page 52, we make peace together. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'yimeru Amen.
Kaddish Shalem is on page 54.
יתגדל ויגדל שמי רבה.
אמן.
ועמד דברה קירותי ומקומתי בחיי כל ומכון וחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך והעלם עולם מעל מיה.
יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירמה וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. קבל צלות תהונה ותהונה כל ישראל קודמה והונה ושמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
It's good to see you. Some of you are smiling. That's great to see. I'm happy that Shabbat is here. And I have a very important question for you all. What are you watching on TV? If you're anything like me, you've been watching some interesting television shows in the time of COVID-19. Maybe you're trying out some new shows. Maybe you're rewatching some old shows. Whatever the case may be, I've found that recently many of my friends who don't have a lot to say, now everybody has something to talk about. Everybody's always telling me what they're watching. And they want to talk about it. So with that being said, I've watched something and I want to talk about it. I guess I should say that I rewatched this thing. This is something that premiered in 1977, primetime TV. It was a mini-series called Roots. This is a really great show. Apparently, Roots was nominated for 37 Emmy Awards, and it was the second most watched overall season finale of any U.S. television show in history. Of course, I liked it because the actor who plays the protagonist is LeVar Burton. He's the guy from Reading Rainbow. He was also on Star Trek: The Next Generation. When I was in 7th grade, my history teacher, Mr. Shoemaker, showed our 7th grade class the entirety of Roots. It's actually a very, very long show. And I never completely forgot about it. So now, 22 years later, I find myself as an adult rewatching Roots. And the things that traumatized me as a child are still painful to watch now. If you've never seen Roots, or maybe you saw it a long time ago or recently, the plot for Roots is unfortunately fairly routine. In West Africa in the year 1750, Kunta Kinte, a young man, is born to a tribe of Mandinka warriors. And when he turns 17, Kunta Kinte goes out into the forest of his village to complete a rite of passage. And while he's outside of his village, he's captured by European slave traders. Hundreds of more Africans are captured or brought from local tribe leaders, and they're taken to a coastal African port city. Before they're being loaded onto large cargo ships, they're tortured, and these ships are specifically designated and designed for transporting slaves across the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I said this story was fairly routine because historically we know that this happened to about 12 million Africans over the course of roughly 400 years. But you should know that approximately 2 million of those Africans never made the voyage across the Atlantic because of such horrible conditions on these slaves' ships. The ship that Kunta Kinte is loaded on was typical of the European slave ships. It had been designed with additional portholes for ventilation. A big cannon-like gun was mounted on the ship in case of a slave rebellion. Additional cabins were located at the very bottom of the ship to cram as much profitable human cargo as possible. In fact, the crew would install nets around the deck of the ship designed to catch slaves who might try to jump off, who would rather opt for death rather than servitude. Once below deck, men were chained together and forced to lay on these wooden bunk bed-like platforms with ceilings as low as 4.5 feet. This is where they would spend most of their voyage. Now keep in mind, there is no plumbing of any kind on these bunk bed things, creating hellish conditions when combined with the heat and lack of ventilation. So of course, measles and smallpox, influenza, scurvy, and dysentery were major factors that contributed to this horrible death toll. People often died, and it could be days until the dead would be removed and simply thrown overboard. Slaves spent about 8 hours a day above the deck and were subjected to forced exercise, and individuals who didn't comply were tortured or whipped with the especially cruel cat of nine tails, which was a whip designed for the maximum amount of pain. So it is in these miserable conditions that we find Kunta Kinte, our protagonist, our hero. He's forced onto the ship called the Legionnaire. He and his fellow shipmates are attempting to revolt against the ship's crew, but are facing one major setback. All of the Africans on board are from different tribes. Some of these tribes were at war with one another back in Africa. They speak different languages. They view the world entirely differently, and they can't seem to get along. After sailing for weeks, the various tribes finally try to come together despite their differences, but there is a severe lack of unification among them, and soon their mutiny is quickly squashed. It turns out that big gun I mentioned earlier that's mounted on the deck was pretty effective when fired into a rebellious crowd. Now, believe it or not, this scene isn't too entirely different from our Torah portion for the week, Bamidbar. In the opening book of this book from the Torah, the Israelite slaves, I should say, have left their home and they are on a voyage of their own. Bamidbar, the word literally means in the wilderness. The Jews have not yet arrived in the land that God has promised them. They are transitioning from one place to the next, wandering aimlessly, frightened and exhausted. Things have gotten so bad that they will eventually say the famous line, "We should have stayed slaves in Egypt. At least we would have had fish and fruit, leeks and cucumbers." In the midst of all this wandering, God gives Moses a task. Take a census of the Israelite men aged 20 years and above. Quote, all of those in Israel who are able to bear arms. That's what happens the most in this parsha. It's a big data grab to determine who from what tribe has ended up in this awkward wilderness transition. Different tribes are given different tasks, and we're told the exact number of each tribe. This parsha is tribe after tribe after tribe. Now we know that during the course of this wandering in the desert, people are going to plot to overthrow Moses. Later, Moses is going to deliberately disobey God by striking the rock instead of speaking to it, and God in turn will deny Moses from entering the promised land. Now, if the story ended here, it would be sad enough, but eventually all of these tribes make it to their final destination after conquering the land under Joshua's leadership. Each tribe gets an allotted amount of land to settle. And during this period of settlement, and the subsequent period, known as the Book of Judges, there won't be any predetermined pattern of leadership among the tribes, though various crises will force them to cooperate with one another. Later, the tribes will elect a king, first Saul, then David, then Solomon. But after the death of Solomon, the tribes will once again split among territorial and political lines, with the tribe of Judah and Benjamin in the south loyal to the house of David, and the rest of the tribes in the north ruled by a succession of dynasties. Where are all the tribes now? Who knows? Now, I know I've thrown a lot of details at you so far, so let me tell you what I'm trying to get at. When tribes act as tribes, people as a whole suffer. The more differentiation you give a group of people, the more they tend to distance themselves from others. People focus on what makes them not like the other, and that's when the cliques begin to form, and then cliques within the cliques begin to form. Different leaders for those cliques begin to form. And rather than function as a big cohesive group, everything falls apart. There's a story about a woman named Shirley Chisholm. She was the first black woman ever elected to Congress in the 1950s and later 60s. Chisholm was a fiery speaker, and she was a pioneer for civil rights. She applied to be on the National Council for Housing, but the House of Representatives denied her. They wanted to teach her a lesson. Instead, they placed her on what they felt was a meaningless commission, the Commission of Agriculture. Chisholm was insulted and furious. She absolutely knew nothing about agriculture. But being from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, one afternoon she gets a call from the Rebbe. He wanted to see her. Chisholm was baffled. What did a rabbi want with a black civil rights advocate? But she went to see him in his office, and she explained to him, she said, Rabbi, I feel defeated. I feel unsure. Finally, she told him, I'm not sure I can even help with the people in your community. The Rebbe was puzzled. In my community? He asked. You're from Crown Heights. We're all one community. He explained to her that he felt that her new role was a blessing. There's so much in America, he explained. Surely you can find a way to feed hungry people. Motivated, Chisholm left the Rebbe's office, and the next day she traveled to Washington to begin her tenure on the Agricultural Committee. And as chance would have it, she ran into another congressman who is now world famous. His name was Robert Dole. He was from Kansas. Eventually, Dole would become the CEO of Dole Fruits. He told her, you know, at the end of every season, our farmers have all this extra food. We don't know what to do with it. Maybe you can help. Immediately, she thought of her conversation with the Rebbe. Eventually, what we now know as WIC and food stamps were born out of this conversation that Shirley Chisholm had with the Rebbe. Imagine how the world could function if we weren't so divided. Everyone is in a tribe, politically, regionally, economically. What would things look like if we could work together as one cohesive unit? It's easy, especially now, to think of ways that we are all unlike the other person. But at the end of the day, we are all created by the same Maker. It's when one tribe believes that they control the destiny of another. This is when the tyranny of things like slavery began to occur. This is when division happens. And this is when we begin to rebel against God. So if your conversations lately have been about them, maybe shift the way you think about that other person. Is there a way we can reach out and hold a conversation with those people that we don't agree with? I'm not saying it's easy. But Shirley Chisholm did it, and she literally reaped the fruits of her labors. Kunta Kinte would eventually settle in this new land, and finally, after years of rebellion against everyone else, when he finally acknowledged that he wasn't defined merely as an African slave, and that every individual was in fact human, he came to terms with his life and finally found happiness. He would eventually marry an American woman and raise a family. His descendants would eventually be Alex Haley, the man who roots the book that they turned into the miniseries. In conclusion, our Torah mandates that we are to believe that everyone is created b'tselem Elohim, in God's divine image. I think our world would be a much better place if we started acting like it. Shabbat Shalom. If there's one entity that's not required to social distance, it's the Shabbat angels. They're free to fly and roam around the world and greet us as we celebrate Shabbat wherever we may be. We're going to sing Shalom Aleichem together on page 73. Please rise as we sing together, and maybe, just maybe, an angel will come to greet you.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashari, Malachei
Kiddush is on page 76.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei puri hagafin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon ginkilanu zikaron le'maaseh boreshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Kinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Before we sing Aleinu together, we will recite the counting of the Omer. Page?
Page 63.
Page 63.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu hasifirat haomer. Hayom arba'a v'arba'im yom shehem shisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 44 days, 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer.
Thank you. Please be seated. Oh, well. Yeah, let's stand for Aleinu and then we'll do the shibboleth.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teinu l'alefzer ureshit shelo asanu k'nei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpechot adama shelo samta k'enu kahem v'gor aleinu Moshe Vikaro Bashamayim Imon, Ushkinatuzo, Bigove Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Enon, Emakeinu Evesulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'yatata Yom V'yashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Bashamayim Imon, Ve'aretz, Mitachat Ein Od, Al Kenim Melech Eloheinu. Kagatu b'Toratecha, Adonai Elohim Le'olam Va'ed, V'nehemar, V'haya Adonai, V'melech al kol haaretz, Bayom ha'u, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Now we'll be seated. We'll turn to page 173. This is perhaps the most important prayer in unprecedented times, the prayer for healing for those members in our community and well beyond of our community. Anybody who needs a simple word of prayer, we have the opportunity to say the Misha Barak for them, prayers of healing. On the left-hand side, page 173.
Misheberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimoteinu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say Amen.
Temple Beth Shalom is remembering the yortsites of Anna Burns, Alvin Bloomberg, Shirley Mae Brooks, Etta DeCovery, Lawrence DeVore, David Eisenberg, Eva Flaum, Jonathan Joseph Gilbert, Joyce Jurin, Michael Marmer, Edward Miller, Margaret Moniz, Evelyn Ortenberg, Beatrice Pellit, Lottie Rabin, Estelle Russo, Mo Saves, Sarah Saltzman, Harry Schwartz, Abraham Shapiro, Samuel N. Sitzer, Lena M. Solotist, Mose Spivak, Ola Stern, Ruth Steele, Dora Lee Tessler, Ethel Weiner, Eva Wiviat, Zelma Wynn. We're also recognizing the Shloshim of Gerald Lanks. Mourners and those observing a yortzeit, if you have a need or desire to say the mourner's Kaddish, I ask that you please rise. On page 58, we'll recite together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malkei, ve'kayakon uvyon Yitbarak v'yishtabak, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithale, v'yithalal, shemei dekudisha, barichu, la'elam min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, amiran be'alma, v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom, b'imramav, u'ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. We now have an opportunity to hear from one of our board of directors, Terry Weisbord. We have some announcements, and I'll put them right here for you. Oh, you got them? Great.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining the live stream on Facebook and YouTube as well as Zoom this evening. We hope you're doing well. Join us tomorrow morning where you can find us streaming Shabbat morning service on Facebook and YouTube at 9 a.m. Wednesday, May 27th, we will have our 8th and final concert in our Rock On With Your Socks On series. The concert series streams on Facebook Wednesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. On Sunday, May 28th, starting at 8 p.m., streaming from Sinai, the Torah of TV will be a Jewish community event for Tikinu Le Shavuot. This features teachings from rabbis from across the valley, which includes the Torah of the Tiger King with Rabbi Goodman and converting to Judaism for the Jokes with Rabbi Hudson. Keep an eye out on your event sources for the link to the virtual celebration of Shavuot. In the upcoming days, you'll be receiving a variety of opinion polls in regarding to our TBS community. Please take the time to participate and let us know your choices. By popular demand, the date of the 4951 raffle has been extended to June 26th. Many prizes to win. Call Nicole in the office to purchase more tickets. If you know of a Temple member who is in the hospital, ill at home, or in the nursing home, please contact Temple office to let us know. Be safe and Shabbat Shalom.
First of all, thank you everyone who tuned in this past Wednesday to watch Josh Goldberg for our Rock On With Your Socks On concert series. If you missed it, again, you can go directly onto our Facebook page at any time. We posted a link directly to a YouTube video of that concert. And you can always also check out joshgoldbergmusic.com and buy his albums and support artists right now, especially during this time. This Wednesday, I don't know if you saw on Facebook or not, but this Wednesday is going to be our final Rock On With Your Socks On concert, and it'll be featuring, drum roll please, it'll be featuring Rob Garrett. And if you don't know who Rob Garrett is, and if you lived in Las Vegas for a long time, you've been missing out. Rob Garrett is the nation's #1 Neil Diamond impersonator. And so tune in Wednesday night for our last Rock On With Your Socks On for songs like Forever in Blue Jeans, Sweet Caroline, Love on the Rocks. It's all going to be there. So you don't want to miss concert this Wednesday. And then on Thursday for Shavuot, and then followed by lots of learnings, especially from our own rabbis here. So make sure you tune into that on Thursday. Woo!
There won't be any cheesecake.
There won't be any cheesecake.
I'm on a diet anyway, so it's... Tomorrow at 11:30, right after we stream the service in the main sanctuary, there will be a children's service. Of course, the puppet Sammy the Shul Boy will be there. He's more popular than I am lately, so tune in. Yeah, he's great. All right, we'll continue together with Adon Olam on page.
Adon Olam, Hashem Alach, B'terem kol Yitzei Nivra, Le'et Nasa, V'nefso kol L'samelech Shemo Nivra, Ve'acharei Kitlotakol ולא ירעד. נאי נאי נאי, נאי נאי נאי, נאי נאי נאי, נאי 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 נאי, נאי נאי
One of the beautiful things we do at Temple Beth Shalom Las Vegas is we end every service after we've spent the entire service blessing God and having God bless us. We bless each other. It's a beautiful way to end the Shabbat service. So if you're at home with someone who you're quarantined with, you can definitely put your arm around them, give them some love, or if not, just send out love into the universe. We're going to bless each other. Yevarechecha.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ve'hulecha Yisa Adonai panav elecha V'yasem lecha
At TBS, we end every service by saying, Adonai Oz Le'emo Yutain.
Adonai Yevarech et Amo v'Shalom.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Shalom. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Shalom. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu. Bodevo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Stay safe. We miss you.
Be safe. We'll see you soon.